France's leading anti-terrorism judge wants you and some of your key aides to face trial on the accusation that you ordered the shooting down of the plane which was being used by the serving Rwandan president on the 6th of April, 1994. Are you ready to let justice take its course?
I think there can't be justice in that particular case for various reasons. First of all, there is no basis whatsoever on which the people in Rwanda, leaders of Rwanda, people who fought to stop genocide, people who fought against the genocidal government and the forces, to be tried, and moreover be tried by anybody from France, when France is seriously implicated in the genocide of Rwanda. And we are very sure that this judge is not acting in any way with any sound legal basis. Well, this judge is more political than anything else.
I suspected you would counter with charges against France, and we will talk about those. But I just want to remind you of something you said in a BBC interview in February of 2004, when you said, quote, "If anybody wants to investigate me or try me, I have no problem with that." So what's changed?
Yes, if anybody acting on a legal sound basis is what I was talking about. You don't just have anybody coming up with wild allegations and accusing me and accusing I'm the president of Rwanda, I'm a Rwandese, I had a right, I had the basis for getting involved in the armed struggle to liberate my country from Habyarimana, from the government he was leading. I've been a refugee outside Rwanda for 30 years.
But
that's
you
why
didn't
I was
have a
fighting.
right to shoot down his plane and to assassinate him.
Well,
good evening, good morning, and good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from. How are you guys? So, you know, in this channel we talk about Africa and the melanated people, black people, and everyone. So, have you ever asked yourself what really triggered the Rwandan genocide? Have you ever asked yourself that? Now, there is a powerful interview I'm about to show you, but before that, I want you to know about this. There is a report that was made with the BBC, the British Broadcasting Company, company or corporation. It was, the heading is Rwandan Genocide, Habyarimana Plane Shooting Probe Dropped. Now, here is something. The French judges have dropped a long-running investigation into the shooting down of a plane carrying the former Rwandan president, Juvenal Habyarimana. You know, his death in 1994 was a trigger of the Rwandan genocide. A French inquiry began 4 years later at the request of relatives of the French crew members who died. A judge accused Tutsi rebels led by the current president Paul Kagame of the attack. Arrest warrants were issued for a number of people close to him. The charges were dropped on December 21st in 2018, a judicial source said on Wednesday.
I had a right to fight for my rights.
But do you believe you had a right to assassinate him?
No, but of course Habyarimana, having been on the other side that I was fighting, it was possible that he could easily die. Imagine if I had died myself in the same process. Would the same judge be asking about my death, about who killed me?
But
so I'm saying this is a situation where there was a war that was being fought. But this has nothing to do now with who actually killed Habyarimana yet. I'm not even coming to that. I'm only saying, is it even surprising that somebody involved in a war can die? But does that also mean that you simply bring up wild allegations against him?
Sorry to interrupt, but you were involved in a peace negotiation with him at the time. Yeah. The RPF was talking to him.
Yes, and the genocide happened well after that as well. We had a genocide.
You call them wild allegations, but yes. Of course you know that they're not wild allegations. You know that Judge Jean-Louis Bruguière has been working on this case for many, many years. You also know he's one of the most respected judges in all of France, that he has a track record of tracking down terrorists, bringing them to justice. He's been working on your case, and he has, and I have it here, about 70 pages of documentary evidence pointing to your guilt.
It's 70 pages of trash, of nothing, and I show that. Look at the people he's talking about, he talked to, that he got testimonies from. Almost all of them are people who are indicted by International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. People who, in fact, are wanted by the tribunal, but they can't have access to them, or they can't get hold of them. Yet the judge has access to them because they enjoy protection in France.
Judge Bruguiere comes up with this conclusion. The final order to attack the presidential plane was given by Paul Kagame himself during a meeting held in Mulindi on March the 31st, 1994.
But that represents absolutely nothing. First of all, the judge wants to bring out this incident as having been responsible for the genocide. But the judge, the French, the people of UN, everybody knows that there were months of preparations for the genocide. They bought arms, they trained people, they got arms from France, money paid by French government to the government of Habyarimana to prepare for a genocide. This has nothing to do with aircraft, even if we are talking about the assassination of Habyarimana, bringing down the aircraft. It has nothing to do with that. It's nonsense,
why not bow to the wish of Judge Bruguiere and have
the judge,
your case tested at the International Tribunal on Rwanda?
I can't bow to the wishes of Judge Bruguiere, a French acting politically with France having had a genocide in Rwanda. Never.
As you know, Judge Bruguiere denies absolutely any political involvement. He is an investigating judge who specializes in anti-terrorism.
Why doesn't he investigate?
He is not controlled by the French government.
Why doesn't he investigate about the genocide and the involvement of French officers, armed officers, and the government officials in the genocide of Rwanda, if he's credible?
I want to pick up that point very soon, but before we finish on your position, as a result of
my position is very simple.
Why do you not? Because you're so confident of your innocence.
I am very confident.
Why do you not bow to his command to have the case tested in an international court of law?
I'm confident for various reasons.
No, I understand you're confident, but my question is simple. Why not accede to his wish to have the case tested?
There are even issues of principles here. The French judge has no right to judge me in my own situation in Rwanda.
He's not saying he wants to judge you, he's saying he wants to see you before an international tribunal.
Yes. First of all, why fabricate stories?
I say that Rwanda cannot move on until the real responsibility for the assassination of the president of your country in 1994 is established. To establish it, you need a trial.
The other aspect then is that one. First of all, I'm not responsible for Habyarimana's death, and I don't care. I wasn't responsible for his security. He wasn't responsible for mine either. And he wouldn't have cared if I had died. I don't care that it happened to him. I was fighting that government. The government that made me a refugee for all those years, for which I had a right to fight back, and the judge wants to ask me why.
But my question was simply this: how can Rwanda move on and move forward until the truth has been established?
It is moving on irrespective of not knowing who killed Habyarimana, because it is not such a big problem as it is a problem for Rwanda to have lost 1 million people in a genocide in which France is indicted and this judge is silent about. So France, Bruguiere, have no right whatsoever to be making such a nonsense of our situation, and our people in Rwanda are making headway. They are rebuilding their lives, they are moving forward. I'm their leader, they elected me, and it is nonsense.
French prosecutors had recommended in October the charges to be dismissed because of insufficient evidence against the suspects. Lawyers for Habyarimana's widow, Agathe, had told the AFP news agency the plaintiffs in the case would appeal against the decision. We have to interpret this decision by French judges as a form of resignation faced with political context, which prosecutors did not know how to fight. Lawyer Philippe Melihiak said, Rwandan authorities have never sought to help bring out the truth to light. This is the part I wanted you to know. Rwandan authorities have never sought to help bring out the truth to light. In Africa, the president is above the law. The president can do anything they wish to anyone they wish, and nobody will question them for this. This is how we live in Africa. We don't put our judges, we don't put our presidents into test. No, not into test, into the hands of the law. Nobody is truly above the law. The plane carrying Habyarimana was shot down by a missile in April 1994, triggering the Rwandan genocide, in which more than 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus died. Habyarimana, a Hutu who had signed a peace deal with the Tutsi rebel, was flying into the capital, Kigali, with his Burundian counterpart, Cyprien Ntaryamira. There is another guy from Burundi who was traveling with this Habyarimana guy when a missile brought the plane down, killing everyone on board. The inquiry was launched in 1998 at the request of relatives of the pilot, who was French. The probe was a major source of tension between France and Rwanda. The inquiry was launched, of course, in 1998. I told you that. It was initially conducted by a prominent judge, Judge Jean-Louis Broguet, who concluded that Mr. Kagame, who led the RPF rebels in 1994, had ordered the attack. In 2006, Mr. Broguet, who is the judge issued arrest warrants against several aides of President Kagame. The Rwandan government described the inquiry as politically motivated and accused France, which had supported the previous Hutu regime, of continuing to support those who had carried out the genocide. Relations between the two countries later improved. In 2012, a report by the French judge who succeeded Judge Broguet cast doubt on the idea that the rebels had shot down the plane and suggested that Hutu extremists were likely to have been responsible. An inquiry by Mr. Kagame, Paul Kagame's government, said that the missile that brought down the jet had been fired from an army camp controlled by the Hutus. So in Rwanda, we have two tribes, the Hutus and the Tutsis, as you've heard from this report that was made by the BBC, courtesy of them. Now, in Africa, do you think we really have justice if a president can just do whatever they wish and they go unpunished? By the way, they are very confident. They know you will take them nowhere. And I'm so much saddened. I'm so much saddened by this news. You can never, ever talk to a president one-on-one and tell them their wrongdoings without you going extinct the next day. We've seen so many judges, so many lawyers, so many opposition leaders disappear in Rwanda. Guys, this is something that people should pay keen attention to. If we want Africa to change, we should do away with such mindset. These presidents should be taught the right way, because nobody lives forever. And if nobody lives forever, there will always be someone to replace you. You don't want to be replaced like the ones we had in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. We don't want that to happen. We want it to happen the democratic way. But if it forces the people will take action. This is EFK Original Documentaries. If you like what I do, kindly support me on Patreon. I shall surely appreciate. And see you in the next one.